Andy versus Victor. Like, this is a fight that I figured wouldn't be until way later in the series, just given the fact that, like, Victor and Andy sharing the same body. I was like, well, how would this fight ever really happen? It would, because it logically can only go down in some form of, like, you know, Ichigo versus his hollow inner self kind of fight. But I didn't think we would get this early is the thing. And it's not the full out fight. Like, it's very clear Andy isn't on level with Victor. Like, I figured anybody reading it can see that. Like, Victor is clearly way more experienced in, like, all aspects of, like, his, like, how to use his regeneration powers, like how to fight in general, just in terms of the just general scale of power levels. Victor just seems like he's just the superior one, which again, we understand that he's the original and he's the one that's kind of like the like a big dog within the series. Like, it's not just that he is the more powerful of Andy, like he actually was like a big powerful character in the lore. So I like what's been done with this, and at the same time, like, Victor has had like a good display in this you know, in this whole memory flashback setup, to where we're getting like a lot of just outright really cool action with like his character. Because I think that last chapter, when he went to go do his what was it called, like his dead end ability, I think it was, when he's like got like the blood streams and he's got like that evil wicked villain face. I still think that was such a badass panel without it having to take up the entire scene, just because he looks like a monster. And Victor, we know he's like a baddish guy. Like, he's not as like evil villain as, like, say, you know, Sukuna in Jujutsu Kaisen. He's not somebody that's like as depicted as this big evil bad guy, but he is somebody we know as a problem. He is somebody that is a general antagonist in a, like, to contrast the main character, and he wants to kill Izumo and get rid of her, so you know, he can just have himself like an easier time to get like back in control, get Victor, or get Andy out of the way essentially, and break his spirit, just get rid of him, because he doesn't like this, you know, he does not like Andy in general. He doesn't like the fact he's got this weaker version of himself, and like not even like it's like weaker version of himself, but like stemmed into its own personality. Like, he clearly just does not like and doesn't want to be around. He wants to be in control again, and killing Izumo, like, in his brain is the pathway to there. So doing it, like he said, like defeating her, like if he does it enough inside of this almost dreamscape kind of like situation, this memory world, then it'll like break her soul or like her spirit, and she'll effectively die. But this chapter, for the most part, we got just a large display of their powers. We saw what Andy, like, his upgrades are, like what he's gotten more powerful with, as well as we see just what Victor's capable of. I think that was one of the bigger things that we just got to have in the chapter as well, because Victor is way more than anything we've seen with Andy. Like, with these attacks, like, what was it, Dead Road, where like, was it like, what is it, Dead Vulcan, he just pops his fingers like some freaking like, who, like, what is it, that's that guy's name from Hunter x Hunter, I can't remember the dude's name, the Frankenstein dude, and he's shooting blood bullets everywhere, these massive blood bullets. And then you have Andy's repair glider, so he's using his regeneration to just move around way faster, way more smoothly. And then there's this Dead Blade, so it's like Andy's showing that he's learned how to like harden his blood way better. So I'm actually curious to know about that power of why to do it when he's already got a sword. But I think maybe it's just like, maybe he won't need the normal sword very much longer, or it'll like lead to him upgrading that sword into like being better. Maybe he can turn that into like a relic kind of artifact weapon, but it'll be through like his power. I don't know, that's just a little bit of a weird one, because it's like you're giving a bladed power to a blade using guy. So it's just does he need it, or like what's the plan here? Is it just a coincidence that he's gonna have these two same powers? Because obviously, like, he has a sword, but his main thing is his regeneration powers. So like, I'm wondering like just what the plan the author has like for this. But like he's fighting, you know, Victor. He's just going at it. They're doing big attacks. Well, Victor's doing big attacks. He's like even cutting through Andy's blade, and he's using that dead end again. And he's like elongated the blade. It just sliced up all these like skyscrapers and everything, and then just sliced off his arms. And you see the dead road. So he's using this big giant, essentially a pressurized blood cannon, and Andy's able to, like, to a degree keep up with him, but there's clearly like a general just power gap. The thing though that Andy has that Victor doesn't have is he has Izumo. So Izumo's been holding on to him, and she's going to be giving him some unluck, because he even says at the end he's going to use unluck bullet. So I want to see like how exactly, like what big attack is going to happen now for them to defeat Victor, because obviously they have to beat Victor in this. Victor is in like this weird dreamscape, so like I can see him not being at full power, but also Andy having, you know, the unluck power from Izumo tacked onto it. It makes sense of why he would be able to defeat this guy who otherwise he's more powerful than. And it doesn't look like Victor is going all out. It looks like he's just trying to be like, yeah, get out of my memories. You guys aren't allowed to be in here. You're not allowed to see, you know, what exactly I have, you know, I'm keeping. Because even if it's not like some dark secret or something, it's like there's still something he's probably keeping private, like whatever his story is, because he's lived countless like times throughout like the attempts at defeating God. So he's got a lot that he's probably just trying to keep like on lock, doesn't want anyone really to touch. Because if Shuiz is the only other person that remembers, like it's got to be something very vital and something very important and secretive. But for the most part, I thought this was a really good chapter, just in terms of putting everything on display for the character. Like, we didn't have to have any crazy, like, oh, what's going on with Amaun, what's going on with, you know, the rest of the cast. It's a very dedicated, what's happening with the main character, and, well, the two main characters, and the bad guy that they're facing, because Victor is weird that he's almost like this exclusive antagonist for Andy and Izumo, because on top of being a very powerful you know, very powerful potential bad guy, he clearly has a you know, out for both Izumo and Andy, and Andy and Izumo are obviously on top of that going to be a thing later, and you can't have that with Victor, and Victor's wanting both of them to be gone, not liking either of them. It just adds for like a weird kind of like monkey wrench into like a love triangle kind of thing going on, but it's like an evil monkey wrench. But anyway, other than that though, like the chapter itself, very quick read. Like, it was a very fast kind of like chapter to go through. Like I said though, it was a very action chapter. It was more on just getting like an understanding of like what Andy and Victor could do, because there's not a ton of dialogue. It's mostly like attacks, really cool, you know, action. And I get why. Like, this is an action scene. Like, this isn't a time to sit around and, you know, hang out and, you know, chit chat. Like, no, Victor is in here for blood. But anyway, other than that though, like I said, fast to read, but good chapter, pretty solid. I like a lot of the panels, like just in general, like the way that the attacks are, because even though it's not his primary power, regeneration is primary power. Like, blood attacks with it is cool. Blood is one of those powers that's just badass from the get-go. Like, it doesn't even matter what variation it turns into, but having a blood-based power is just cool from the start. So I'm hyped to see more of just where this fight goes. I don't think it can go much longer. I'm guessing the next chapter is going to be the last part of this fight, and then we'll get back to, like, you know, the main plot, just because after this unluck bullet, I don't know what would be the thing to defeat Victor if it doesn't work, essentially. But anyway, other than that, though, comment below, thumbs up the video, friend the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed, and thank you all for listening. Bye.